We're dressed for like completely different seasons.
Yeah.
This is Canada. This is spring in Canada. There's two types of people
Yeah.
when it gets to 9 degrees outside.
I mean, it's 23 degrees in the ambulance right now, so...
So I'm the weird one?
Are you feeling cold?
No.
Are you hot?
I'm not hot.
Well, then it doesn't matter. We're both comfortable, so...
Live your life.
That's all that matters.
Okay, so this week we're going to talk about van life and working. Because I feel like there is a lot of people on YouTube and on TikTok and on Instagram, which is really great, but they either do social media full time or they have, remote positions and they're not living and working in one city, which is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured that we would film and talk about the difference between like van life and exploring and traveling, and then van life when you're just stationary.
I could tell you one big difference.
What's that?
Van life when you're traveling is when you get all the comments of people being like, mommy and daddy are just paying for everything. And then van life when you're staying in one place is, wow, like you really are broke, you have no money, you're homeless.
Yeah, that's a really funny thing that happens sometimes. It's like people either think that you're like super rich or that you have absolutely no money, and really it's not really either. We're just working, trying to live our lives. And if you've been a long-term subscriber of this channel, you know that before we were doing van life, we were living in Australia, and before that we were living in Asia, and we've worked through the whole time. So we go through short periods of time where we're not working, and that's because we just saved up a whole whack of money, and then we go spend it, and then we do it all again. And that's kind of been our lives for the past 3 years.
We've also lived the life of making money and then spending it, and just like living paycheck to paycheck, but like balling out like every weekend, hanging out. So now we've had both, the best of both worlds. So we've done that, and now we do like barely anything, but we save up all our money for like one big, to renovate a van or to
go traveling for
Asia.
4 months or do whatever. So that's kind of our whole thing. It's like work, save, travel,
repeat.
Do it all again. So we are in the working and saving mode right now, and you are catching us in that mode in this video, and we figured that we would talk about it. Nick is working like 7 days a week right now. You have 1 day off this week.
Yeah, just for this week. I'm a skateboard coach, so right now it's spring break, and we're running spring break camps for kids. So it's been a super busy like week, and even just before that, and now just after, it's going to be kind of busy. So things should kind of slow down a little bit after that. But right now it's like...
Right now we're a bit pressed for time.
Every day.
Like it's like 6 p.m. when we're filming this, and then after that we're going to have to make dinner, go to bed, and...
Up early, yeah.
So, anyways, let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing that we want to talk about is what kind of jobs we take while traveling, kind of what we say to people when we're applying for jobs while we're traveling, and how to find work while we're traveling, whether it's here in Canada, which is our home country, but we're not living in a city that we've ever lived in before this winter. And we kind of did the same thing in other places as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about is temp agencies. I find temp agencies really helpful, or temp work in general super helpful, because if you're just in a place for a short period of time, a few months, and you're looking just to save some money, signing on with a temp agency is a really great way to take jobs that can range anywhere from 2 days to 3 months to 6 months. So I've kind of been able to just take on temp work in my field, which has been really helpful for me while traveling. And yeah, you don't have to quit at the end. It kind of just, your contract just like ends, and then you can be off to the races again. What about for you? How do you find finding work?
Typically I've been trying to find jobs within skateboarding, because that's what I'm comfortable with, that's what I'm familiar with. I've worked a lot of construction jobs when I was younger, but for construction jobs, typically you're usually required to stick around for at least a year or a few years even. Mm-hmm. So I haven't been taking a lot of construction jobs, even though the pay is a lot better. The hours are a little worse, but I've just been trying to find jobs in skateboarding. If you have to go, it's no harm, no foul. It's all good. And
kind of like jobs that expats take anyway. Like in a lot of the places that you work, it's not just you who's there short term. It's like there are people from Australia and England and people from all over the place. Like kind of revolving door industries that you've been working in. Yeah. I mean, if I wanted to stick around, I'm sure that they'd
gladly have me.
And,
Fortunately for this one, we're sticking around for a while, but
yeah, because of the state of the world, we're not really able to go anywhere anyway. So we're kind of taking this opportunity to just stay in one place for a while and try that out. But yeah. So before people ask, I actually used to have a remote job, and a lot of you have found this channel because of that. I used to teach English online, which I honestly, I love doing it. I would really recommend it to people who are doing van life solo or traveling solo, or if both people are doing it, that would be really cool. I don't know how you would make it work with the audio. So I'm just going to briefly explain why I don't do it here anymore. The last time I was doing it, I was like traveling in Ontario, and the time difference between China and Canada is rough on the West Coast. So when I was teaching English online full time, I was getting up at 2:30 in the morning, getting ready, and then signing on around 3 to start teaching. And because Nick is working a full-time job right now, and he has to start work at like 9, it would be pretty rude for me to wake up in a tiny home where I would need complete silence, where he wouldn't be able to stand up and walk around and get ready for work, brush his teeth, any of that in the background. I would need complete silence basically in the middle of the night, and it would also disturb his sleep. So online teaching is actually just really not going to work for us right now. Although, like I said, if you are traveling solo and thinking about online teaching, I super recommend it. Or if you're on a different time zone where the hours are less of a pain. In Ontario, the hours are fine because I was working at like 7 a.m., which is super normal. But here it's a little too early.
so that brings us to Wi-Fi, which is a common question that we get asked. Where do we find it? Well, typically we use data, so that's just one of our expenses. Living in a van, you pay for a lot of data on your phone because you don't have Wi-Fi. Because in Canada, you don't have access to the portable Wi-Fi hubs. So for things like this YouTube video, we'll go to Starbucks and upload it there.
Due to, again, the world circumstance, I don't really... A lot of cafes you can't really go in and sit in right now. Well, a lot of them have opened up, but I'm still not comfortable with that. But the Wi-Fi at Starbucks has proven to be the best Wi-Fi at any cafe, at least here.
Yeah.
I've tested the Wi-Fi speeds at most cafes, and Starbucks has the best, even when I'm on the patio. So when we do have to use Wi-Fi for remote work, aka like YouTube, or if we're doing like job applications and we don't want to use too much of our personal data or hotspots, then yeah, we just go to Starbucks, sit out on the patio, get a coffee, which we would do in the morning anyway, and we're on our merry way.
So one of the things about working while doing van life is that you don't really have time to be running around looking for showers at a public pool or campgrounds or things like that. So you'll definitely need to have a gym membership, which we do. That way you have access to a shower and a bathroom at all times. For us, it's a 24-hour gym that we pay for. It's a little bit more expensive, but that's just kind of one of the things that you have to pay for when you're working and living in a van.
Yeah, just don't have that time to like be looking on Overlander and finding showers, which is like kind of one of the fun parts about it in a weird way. When you're traveling and you're going to new places and you're seeing new cities all the time. When you're just in one city, you don't want to waste your time doing that. Like, you have the shower that you go to, you have the gym that you like to go to, and it's worth the money. So yeah. Something else that we talked about in a video that we just posted about, van life and the frequently asked questions is parking is very different when you're just living in one city versus when you're traveling through. So super short, just for us, when we're traveling through, we kind of like to find like beautiful spots off these like remote locations. Like, we do love finding those spots, but again, you don't really have time for it when you're just working full time, like especially right now when you're working 7 days a week. We kind of just have our favorite spots that we like to go to in the city, and we just have like kind of a rotation. So we have like 5 to 10 spots that are our favorite. Sometimes we try out new spots, and then we kind of just rotate between those. Never 2 nights in a row.
And same thing goes for laundromats. We just kind of pick a favorite one and go there.
What do you put for your address on your resume?
Outer space.
We just don't put anything. We just put the city. I honestly haven't put like a full address on a resume in over 10 years maybe, even when I was living in a normal house. I don't want people to know where I live.
I mean, right now we have the luxury of like my parents live like an hour away from us, so if somebody does need to know my address or I'm getting anything like mailed to me, I can just get it mailed to them.
Those are two different answers though, because our mailing address for mail, yeah, we receive it at Nick's parents' house, but on our resumes, no, we just put the city that we're in. Yeah. And then in job interviews, when people, like, did you tell your manager when they asked where you live, did you say, oh, I live in a van?
No.
No. You just said, oh, I live up the road?
Yeah, I live in Kelowna up the road.
Yeah, we just kind of just dodged the question.
Just waiting for someone to be like, oh, whereabouts do you live? Like, I live just up the road.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I live there too. Like,
do you live off this road? Like, yeah, I live right out front of your house, dude.
I guess it would be weird. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, don't ask, don't tell. We just don't lie,
most
but
people,
we just...
It's a weirdly pushy question, I feel like, for a manager to ask.
Yeah, like when I've done hiring, like when I've been on that side of hiring before, if I were to ask someone, oh, where do you live? And they're like, oh, just in that area there. I wouldn't be like, what house? Like, it's one of those things that seems like a bigger problem than it's going to be. Yeah. But yeah, no, we just kind of avoid that. Like now your whole team knows that you live in a van.
I mean, I work as like a skateboard coach, so I think it's like...
Yeah, they think that it's like
they're
cool
just
and
like,
normal.
oh yeah, this is like some like skater dude who just like...
Well, and also someone else that you work with also did it as well.
Yeah,
he was living in a van as well.
Yeah.
I said this on TikTok, but there's like two camps of people. There's people who think that it's like super cool and they're like, oh, that's so dope. And there's other people who are like, but whatever. It doesn't matter either way. And then is there anything else that you would say is very different about living van life in a city versus living van life on the road?
Not really. Like, you just get to wake up at more beautiful places. You get to see different. You get to see different things. Otherwise, we live pretty much the same. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not really that big of a difference. Like, yeah,
except for one you're working and one you're not working. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways, if you're thinking about doing van life and also working and you were just kind of wondering what it was like, I hope that you found this video helpful, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.